Today, we're talking about someone whose name still carries a certain kind of magic, Ann-Margret. Even decades after she first lit up the screen, people continue to rediscover her through classic films, unforgettable performances, and old television clips that somehow never lose their charm. And if you've noticed her name appearing more often lately, you're not alone. There's a reason people keep coming back to her story. Because for many, Ann-Margret wasn't just another actress or singer. She represented an era, an energy, a confidence that seemed impossible to ignore. She had the glamour Hollywood loved, but there was always something more beneath the surface. Something authentic, something fearless. And that's the part many people never really got to know. Before we get into today's story, take a quick second to subscribe and hit notification bell. Let's go back to the beginning. Long before she became one of Hollywood's brightest stars, Ann-Margret arrived with a dream and an undeniable talent. She could sing, she could dance, she could act. It didn't take long for producers and audiences alike to realize they were looking at someone truly special. Her performances weren't just polished, they felt alive. Every time she stepped onto a stage or in front of a camera, she commanded attention without ever seeming to force it. Then came the moment that changed everything. As the 1960s unfolded, Ann-Margret became one of Hollywood's most recognizable faces. Films like Bye Bye Birdie introduced her to a massive audience, showcasing not only her beauty, but also her remarkable charisma and comedic timing. Suddenly, she wasn't simply another rising actress. She was becoming a cultural phenomenon. But here's the thing. It would have been easy for Hollywood to place her into a single category. The glamorous leading lady whose appearance overshadowed everything else. That happened to many actresses during that era. But Ann-Margret refused to stay inside that box. She continued challenging herself with dramatic roles, proving she had far more depth than critics initially expected. Then came another unforgettable chapter. When she starred alongside Elvis Presley in Viva Las Vegas, audiences immediately noticed their incredible chemistry. Their performances lit up the screen, and the film became one of the most beloved musicals of its time. For many fans, their partnership remains one of classic Hollywood's most iconic pairings. Yet even while sharing the spotlight with one of the world's biggest stars, Ann-Margret never disappeared into the background. She stood out on her own. But success doesn't protect anyone from hardship. Behind the glamorous headlines were moments that tested both her career and her resilience. During a live performance in the 1970s, she suffered a devastating fall from a stage, resulting in serious injuries that could have ended her career altogether. Recovery wasn't quick, and returning to the spotlight required determination that most people never saw. And that's what makes her story different. She didn't allow one terrible moment to define the rest of her life. Instead, she fought her way back, continuing to perform, act, and surprise audiences with her versatility. Over the years, she earned critical acclaim, award nominations, and the respect of an industry that had watched her evolve from a young sensation into a seasoned performer. What makes Ann-Margret so fascinating isn't just the longevity of her career. It's the way she adapted without losing herself. She embraced change while staying true to the qualities that first made audiences fall in love with her. Her warmth, her confidence, and her unmistakable presence. Now fast forward to today. New generations continue discovering her through classic Hollywood clips, restored films, documentaries, and social media tributes celebrating cinema's greatest stars. Younger audiences are often surprised that someone they first recognize from a vintage video built a career spanning decades across film, television, music, and live performance. And maybe that's why her story continues to resonate. Not because she belonged to Hollywood's golden years, but because she never relied on nostalgia alone. She earned admiration through hard work, resilience, and a willingness to keep growing long after many expected her to fade away. Because in the end, Ann-Margret wasn't simply a star of her generation. She became one of those rare entertainers whose legacy isn't measured only by awards or box office numbers, but by the lasting impression she left on everyone who watched her perform. And that's the kind of legacy time can never replace.